Hello, welcome to Bardscraft. I challenge you to build peasant-level dungeon tiles. Do it quickly and from cheap, easily available materials.
And what's more readily available than cardboard? I used a method that will give you a good amount of inexpensive, great-looking tiles. Check out my take on the challenge over on my channel, Frankie D Crafter, after you're done here obviously.
Now this is a good time to hide in your crafting hole, so I encourage you to build something bigger, perhaps a set of dungeon or cave tiles. I already have foam dungeon tiles, so I'll give away the ones I make, unless they turn out to be really good. Let's see. Okay, so the material I'll be using is cardboard and cardstock. Yes, looks like oats are back on the menu, and most importantly, cutting noises. First I made sure that the cardboard sides were straight, then I made measurements for my first size of dungeon tiles. These will be the ones most commonly used as medium-long rooms or wide corridors, 6 by 12 centimeters. I cut these out using a sharp blade. Make sure your cuts are straight so the tiles fit well together. Good, with only these tiles, you could do pretty much already. Next I made medium-wide corridors, also 12 centimeters long, but 3 centimeters wide. Then I made two of the largest ones, 12 by 12 centimeters. Now for all of those who still see their measurements in Undercommon, all of these tiles would be approximately 25 feet long in game. I encourage the rest to convert their games into metric units. It's a great change. Before the next step, I made a few more tiles. Basically the same rectangle shapes, but I cut them in half. Yeah, this little set should cover your everyday dungeoneering needs. Moving on, next I cut the stone tiles from the cardstock. First I cut out these 2.5 centimeter wide strips. Then I cut them into squares. It might just be the dull scissors, but I seem to get much cleaner cuts with the utility knife. These bits should fit well on the tiles. Yeah, I went ahead and cut all of the cardstock tiles in one go. If you're lucky and have a paper cutter, this should be a very quick step. A quick trick for acquiring more crafting materials. Just empty a suitable food container, eat the food later, and there you go, instant cardstock. Next, I simply glued on the bits. Apply dabs of PVA or hot glue and then simply place on the tiles. As you can see, my tiles are crooked and of varying size, as expected, but that should be no problem. Here you can go for different tile patterns, such as this one. I chose to keep it simple, so I placed all tiles like this. By the way, if you have things to share or ask, I invite you to join our Discord. A few cool things there, all about tabletop crafting, and I'm never online. Anyway, texturing is the next thing to do. 3 easy steps. First, cut away small bits from roughly half of the tiles. If you wanna do cracks in this way, a good tip is to make angled cuts like this. These deep textures provide good edges for dry brushing. Then use a pen to carve in cracks. I usually started the cracks from where I had cut away material, and then continued by making them all over. Be careful not to break the cardstock. I had no problems with these, but cardstock can vary in quality. Once that is done, find yourself a good stone. With this, you can easily make all manners of dents and scratches. Just be careful not to apply too much force, or the cardboard might get crushed. Looks quite good already. Thank you, optimal lighting angle. I was actually surprised and relieved how quick these were to make. You can also quickly press like on this video, and if you enjoy the content, do subscribe. To base coat these, I wanted to use this matte spray, but it was too dark for spraying outside. Manual brushwork will do instead, and fits well with the theme of this challenge. With this black craft paint, I painted carefully, trying to get a thin and clean coat. These tiles don't have as deep textures as foam dungeon tiles would have, that's why the spray could have been better. Here we can see some brush strokes, not good, but I was able to smudge away the streaks with a finger. But what about the sides, you may ask? Well, don't take any of my videos too seriously. The sides are good as they are. I painted a bit of black on them just for good measure. I quickly worked through all of the tiles using a dry brush. Paint directly from the jar seemed to work well here. I then painted a few mist spots with a small brush. Next I applied a bit of grey paint on the brush, removed most of it using paper, and then dry brushed the tiles. When dry brushing cardstock, it is especially important to not have too much paint on the brush. Any mess will be easily visible. Here on this tile, I managed to get just the right amount of paint on the brush. Yeah, that looks quite good. Compare that to the less successful tiles, and you can see the difference. The ones on the left got too much paint on them. These are much better than expected, so I decided some washes would be worth the effort. I mixed a bluish wash from water, blue, brown and black. In previous builds I have used blue tones for stones, and it works quite well, so why not try that on dungeon tiles as well? I went ahead and applied this on some areas, mainly into cracks and cuts. Using washes on cardstock and other materials that turn soft from water works best if the excess is removed. With this in mind, I made the wash a bit stronger. That seemed to work well. Keep in mind you can use any other color as well to give life to your dungeon tiles. To bring out even more textures, I gently dry brushed the tiles with an off-white. As usual, I put too much paint on the brush at first. Good, now it's getting better. The paint hits the cardstock edges very nicely here. I intentionally painted some on the flat surfaces as well, so the tiles look more weathered. The last dry brush is always the most satisfying step. Good, that's all of them. Let's build a dungeon from these after checking out what Frankie has been up to. Alright, looking good. I like how these tiles fit with his Aztec style temple. These tiles might be quicker to make, but they seem to require some freehand painting. Not sure though. Two-sided. Convenient. You can go check out the full build on Frankie's channel, links in the descriptions. Back to my tiles. The first good thing I noticed is that the cardboard tiles are heavier than the foam tiles. Also, the surface is flatter. Minis are less likely to tip over in rough situations. About the naked sides, consider this. When terrain runs out of painted surface, your players will surely understand that they can't go any further. I think this method is very good, especially if you can't get your hands on XPS foam. In fact, I like these tiles better than my old ones. I'll keep them, so get your hands off my tiles. Now go ahead and craft. Respond to this peasant level tiles challenge if you so wish. Remember, you don't really need much to start crafting stuff like this. That's what the hobby is all about. Hey, if you're interested in the hobby and perhaps new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content. There are lots of fun and simple builds to explore. Good luck! And if you like these videos a bit too much, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. That helps a lot. Thanks.